and good afternoon everybody. You join me at a bay on the Yorkshire coast, the North Yorkshire coast, just below Whitby. My daughter found this, I say found photos of it on the internet and thought it looked rather nice, so said, can we go there? So it's about 2 3/4 hours from where we're staying, so it's not an inconsiderable distance to drive. And I've got to say, I'm pleased we came here. Out there's a sea stack, and that looks rather interesting. I'll head over to that in a moment and see what we can get. The tide should be about at its lowest point around now, which has uncovered all of these wonderful rocks and such here. The seaweed on the rocks is lovely, lots of detail there. Now what we're going to be shooting today, I think mostly, is going to be detail shots, because, well, it's quite overcast. That's not to say that the sky is uninteresting. Oh, it is. There's a lot of cloud and quite a bit of movement, so I feel some long exposures coming in. I've already had a shot just down here where you can see the camera, but I've actually turned it around. What we have down here is just a rock with some seaweed just kind of splayed out on it in a nice kind of fan-like shape, and it looks rather nice. So we're going to open with this little detail shot of that, and stick around and see what else we can find. So I'm just going to wander around looking down at the beach and the rocks and the rock pools and see what other elements kind of take my fancy. There were some very large bits of seaweed, the seaweed bulbs. I don't know enough about them to call them by their right name. They look very tactile, and they're very, very interesting to look at, and the way they kind of form patterns in the way that the weed has grown and been deposited here by the sea. So I think there might be something in those. Not sure. We'll have to see. There's a glorious redness to the sand here. Lots of little bits of shale, shall we call it? I mean, it's probably the wrong word again, but lots of lovely little bits of rock, almost kind of brick coloured, clay, kind of red brick coloured. It's very, very nice, and I'm wondering whether I've got anything in that, because I don't need a lot of a space, a big area to work in to kind of pick up some of the colours and such on it. And yeah, just here, as an example, I mean, I might not shoot this, but just the kind of red, black sands and the yellow sands all kind of meld into one in this space, and it's truly gorgeous. I don't know that there's a shot in it, but there's got to be something somewhere like that, just because of its, well, to me at least, because I don't come to places like this a great deal. The sand in Norfolk where I live is pretty kind of sand coloured, yellow kind of sand. So to see something like this is different, and even if I don't get a great shot out of it, at least I'm documenting the fact that I've been here. And a lot of the photography that I take is kind of like that. It's creating memories, and indeed that's really what a lot of photography for a lot of people is about, is taking and creating memories. That's what you do with your phones, isn't it? Maybe there's something here. It's sometimes very funny how you come across a composition. I was just aiming the camera down to shoot a bit of B-roll of this red coloured sand, and I spotted this yellow rock on it, just literally on the screen on the back of the camera. I hadn't seen it beforehand. I wasn't looking for it beforehand. I was just doing that bit of B-roll. What's special about this is just the colour. It's very, very nice. I mean, yeah, it's very nice. This is, of course, a back of the camera feeling. Yeah, again, on a big screen, I might think, don't like that. Often happens. But here and now, I do like this. So I'm going to shoot it. Now, I'm just going to briefly frame up here with it. I've got the lens at 40mm. I don't really want to get too low. I suppose if I stick it down to 25mm rather than getting any distortion or anything, like 25mm on this being a 50mm equivalent approximately, then I think there's something there. Now, do I need to shoot this with, let's put it into aperture priority, as I tend to use. What do you use for these kind of things? It's rare I just use manual. I tend to use aperture priority, and then I adjust the EV from there to get my exposure. But I appreciate there's all kinds of methods and such. Let's get that off. I stupidly have left my better tripod back in the car because one of the legs has got tight on it, and I've forgotten to repair it last night. And I thought, well, I'll make do without it. I always make these silly choices. I should have just brought it and worked with it. Splay these legs a little. And this rear leg has become very loose, and I need to tighten that up as well, which means I'll have to get the tools out of the bag as well. I don't like doing these things when I'm kind of out in the field. But actually in this instance, having that leg just a little looser has worked quite well, because I can tilt the tripod forward and kick the leg down to get that rock pedal more central in frame. There we go, that's better. The rock is on a third, on the left hand third. It's a simple shot. There's flat lights, so shadows are virtually non-existent. Slight halo shadow around the rock. Absolutely perfect light for this kind of work. Yeah, it's flat, it's not casting colour. It's great. I'm quite happy with that as a shot. We're quite close in. We want to make sure, obviously, we get everything to focus. F9 gives me 1/6 of a second. Unimportant, if no other reason. Stabilisation in the camera, but we're on a tripod, so it's wonderful just to tap focus on the rock because it's the closest thing. At F9, I'm absolutely confident the whole thing's going to be in focus, and I'm not going to shoot another one. That's all I need. Here it is. I hope you like it. I spent the last 5 minutes or so trying to find a stable place just to put the tripod here, because the tide is certainly coming in, and where I've got myself is beginning to fill with water occasionally, with every few big waves that pull up. And what I'm trying to do is get this sea stack in the distance with a bit of foreground, but my composition is pants, so I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to manage what I'm trying to do. I was going to try something clever, which I'll talk about if I pull it off, but here and now, I mean, I'm not just at the edge of this bunch of rocks here, so I can get myself out, but I don't know whether to continue with this or not. I really need to be a bit higher and look down a little rather than look through this. But in order to get higher, I've got to put this on some rocks, and they're very uneven, and that really is becoming a nuisance now. But if I get out here and find the tools to fix it, then I might lose everything. I don't know. I'm going to head around here and see whether there's something a bit more stable here. The problem with coming around here is that it's I've just changed my position a little bit too much for my liking. So there's a position I can it stands up here at least. But you can see how awkward the tide is becoming. Now, 13th of a second at f9. I'm going to have to shoot this at different focal points. There's no way I'm going to get the foreground and the background in focus in one go. And I'd like to smooth the sea, but also freeze some of the action. So I'm going to take multiple shots here, and I'm going to start by putting some filters on. So I may have said in another video, I rather stupidly left my Lee 62mm adapter for this lens at home. I can picture it on one of my desks, and I think I probably didn't pick it up because I thought it was a duplicate of one I had in my bag. I don't know whether the polarizer is going to do anything. Before I faff about with the polarizer, I'm just going to... Yes, it does. And just look through it and see what happens, and it's having a nice effect of pulling out some of the pinks and oranges in the clouds. Has that gone on? Hey! That never happens. First time. Right. Okay. So polarized light works quite nicely. Oh, and that is finally my mic muff coming off, and I only noticed it because it hit my foot. These things they're awful. The mics are great, but these dead cats are just atrocious. This one I've super glued on, but obviously I didn't super glue it enough. So I'm going to lose that before the day's out. I'm certain of that. I might put the mic inside my clothes in a while to make sure that doesn't happen. You see, it's off again. No, sorry. Mic in here. It'll probably mean that the audio is a bit muffled, sorry, or scratchy as I move. You're buggered either way, because otherwise you're going to get wind noise. So yeah, road, awful piece of design. Awful, awful, awful. Should be ashamed of yourselves. Getting such a great bloody mic and an appalling wind muff for it. I see you learnt with the second one. A Lee 6-stop ND filter. Now this is going to be interesting because of course everything's a bit wobbly here, so if I pull this off I'm going to be amazed. Let's slip that in. And when I say if I pull this off I'm going to be amazed, it's because obviously I haven't got the most stable of tripods. It's on not the most stable of bases, and I've got to do quite a lot of playing about with the shutters, or with the camera, moving things on and off it and such. So yeah, wish me luck. We're sticking at f9, 200 ISO, and I've got the horizon on the third. I've got the C-stack just on a third intersection. I'm trying to capture waves and spray, but on the long exposure I don't think it matters a great deal, so I'm going to do a focal point up here and capture that. Oh, and by the way, I've turned off the in-camera noise reduction because I prefer to do the noise reduction in post, and I use DxO Pure Raw. I'm going to put my focal point, no, touch, there we go, and it's focusing now down below. Wait for that. Okay, so we've got 2 shots there that are long exposures, and I'll be able to blend the 2 together there. Now I've got to take this filter out. It's quite unstable. I can't afford to move the camera here. So now I've got 1/4 of a second. So I'm still not going to capture a lot of spray here. What I'm going to do is push this up to, hold on now, I've pushed it up to 400 ISO. I don't know whether this is going to work, as I think I've said. Okay, I'm going to wait for a big wave, and I'm going to, oh, missed it. Let's do another. So I'm pushing the exposure down because all I'm really wanting is the sea movement. And I think I might be just as well putting this onto a high-speed shutter to just get this. So I'm at a 40th of a second now, again still at f9, and I'm focusing just on the waves in the distance, so to speak, and I'm just going to roll off. When I get a big and coming splash, I'm going to just roll that shutter. There we go. I know it's not going to be a great photo, but it will prove to me that I can kind of blend these around, and I'm talking and missing these shots. There we go. I'm going to have a lot of work to do to put these together, because not only is this very experimental for me, there's a lot of shots here to sift through to find what I want. And I've said before, if I shoot too many things, I find the editing process really troublesome, because I've got to look through too many shots to find the detail in the ones that I want. And it may well be that I end up blending 7, 8, 9 shots to get that big kind of splash of water coming over these rocks at different places and different times. It's difficult to know without getting these back into Lightroom and Photoshop. I don't know how much longer I want to stand here or go and get some other... Hey, I missed it. I'm just talking, I missed it. That was one of the best close ones. Yeah, I think I should stay and wait for another one. Although that's getting a little close to the camera. I know it's weather sealed, but I don't think it's wave sealed. Right, that'll do me. Here's a shot from this myriad of shots. I hope it meets with your approval. Like, comment, subscribe, and all of that stuff down below. Let me know what you think of this shot in particular. I'd be interested to hear what everybody else thinks of this. I'm just not struck on it. Technically, yeah, it's okay. I pulled it off. It's not the shot that you saw me take in the film. I put the longer lens on later on and got this, but the process was identical. I just shot it from a bit further back to get the compression. But I'm not over enamoured with it. It's taking a lot of effort to get. I think there's 4 images in this together, and the masking and pulling the bits of sea spray in where I want them, things like that. But has it worked? Technically, yeah, it's kind of worked, but I don't think I'm going to be hanging this on the wall. Let me know what you think. And having another little scout around, I found these rocks submerged a little in the sand down by the cliff face, and they made a great subject for some abstracts. Have a look at these. It's getting a little dark and a little nippy now, and I think I've got the shots that I wanted, so I bid you farewell. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, click like, subscribe and all of that kind of stuff, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks a lot.